I had just decided to become a storyboard artist, like that week before Victor handed me the script. I just come off of doing graphic novels. I met Victor at a party like on Saturday. Said, hey, what you doing? What's new? He goes, hey, I just wrote a script and I really need someone to storyboard. And I said, hey, I just became a storyboard artist. So Monday I came over to his house again, handed me the script. Tuesday I came back with drawings of the creeper. He said, oh, that's great, and we just started from there. It was just like before anybody else was attached to it at all, before we even know it was really seriously going to go through, I think. We just on our own just started to board it and come up with all the visuals, and it was great fun. It just flowed so easily for us.
Brad Parker, again, contributed so much to this movie that I like to consider him, my visualist, my initial visualist. He comes in as early as the script is written and starts running with all these ideas.
I mean, I read the script and it was like so, his writing is so intense, so creatively just charged that I got visuals, just huge visuals just out of reading the script. Amazing. I don't know if it's common that you have the storyboard artist and your production illustrator as the same person. I don't think that's very common. I wasn't like doing the really fast, just quick sketches all the time. Sometimes I get really involved in the very strange, detailed production illustrations and storyboards mixed together, which is kind of odd. And I do little diagrams outside the boards that would say, there's a camera moving around the car or something. It's a kind of strange way to do boards. And later on I learned that that's not how you do them. A lot of the stuff, like in some of the boards, when he originally was, his face opened up, when we originally were designing that, we weren't quite sure even how that was going to work. So as I was boarding it, I was designing what his face would do. It was like, it should look like this. So the boards themselves actually became production illustrations of how the creeper should look and how his face works.
The idea of these bony talons that are on his head is the fact that he's got these wings that fold up, and then he tries to look as human as he can. So we had to figure out a way of making that concept work.
The strange thing about creating a concept like that, the first thing you do, I think, is a written word, of course. And then I'll come in and I see it in my head, I start drawing it on paper, and a lot of times, no matter how carefully you draw it, it never quite looks like that original idea in your head. It kind of grows on its own. It kind of is this birthing process, and it's like, oh, it's going to look like this, instead of that, But it looks better now because you work out a lot of things as it's forming on the paper. And then we take that, and it goes to, and this was really scary the first time we did it, it goes to somebody else. It goes to Brian Pennicus. I'd never done a movie monster. I'd never had it taken to a studio and sculpted and created like that. So it was all fascinating when it happened.
Brad Parker had all these kind of neat concepts of what the creeper may or may not look like, and as more and more meetings were had, and after they had cast Jonathan, we were able to start fleshing those concepts out. And then once you start seeing stuff three-dimensionally, it starts to develop.
Brian's fantastic, so the stuff that he came back with was like, wow, it's like what we wanted, and then so much more, this whole other feel to it that was becoming alive. Like being Dr. Frankenstein, and the creature comes to life, it's fantastic.
There were actually quite a few prototype sculptures made before we had Jonathan Breck cast to play the role. And some of our early designs were very 60s outer limit type of makeups, which were a little extreme. Victor wanted the design of the creeper to still have resemble a lot of the actor that would be wearing it. And we tried to keep that in mind when we were designing it originally, but then as things were sculpted and shown to Victor, or he'd see something, Brad would draw something a certain way and he'd like it and say, oh, make it that way. So it evolved. It's an ongoing process.
I sit there in the makeup chair Some days it takes me 5 hours, some days it only takes me 3, but it's really great to watch the process. It's a layering process. By the time they're done, I am somebody else. You know, I feel like somebody else. So it's a lot easier for me to just get into that character, because when I look in the mirror, the only thing I see of myself is my eyes. Plus, the makeup, in particular this suit, is cast exactly to my body, so it feels like a second skin. But when I look in the mirror, I've got it, you know, I'm bulked up, you know, 3 times the size that I normally am. You just feel like there's nothing you can't do, you know. I'm the creeper when I'm suited up, you know. It's like a magic cape that you put on and instantly you become the creeper.
I remember when the first time we saw, it was like a makeup test or whatever, and we're standing in this little hallway with this door shut in front of us, and then the door opened and out came Jonathan in full creeper makeup. The first time we ever saw him, hat, coat, everything. And he was so intimidating. He stalks out of the room down the hallway at us, and we're just like, good Lord, you know, this is fantastic. It's like, it's real now. And we're staring at him, and you couldn't see Jonathan in there anywhere. I was just staring at him and looking at him going, wow, I don't see Jonathan Breck in there anywhere, just commenting on the makeup. And Jonathan, in this really low, guttural voice, says, Jonathan's gone.
When you're playing a character like this, it's so far removed from yourself, you just push the envelope, you know, you can't push it too far. Anything your mind can conceive, you can do. You know, I really enjoyed it. Matter of fact, I've had a lot of fun with him off the set too, you know, just scaring him and creeping up behind him and stuff like that.
In Jeepers 2, the creeper actually looks more like we originally envisioned him for Jeepers 1. The first original idea of the creeper was he was black. He was dark as night, and he had long white hair, and that was a weird, scary contrast, kind of like a swamp-like creature. But we kind of moved away from that. We wanted him more lizard-like or gargoyle-like. We thought, well, maybe he wouldn't show up on film very well if he's all black. What are you going to see? Because, you know, the silhouette was strong enough. It was almost an accident how we got back to that. We were doing the fantasy shots first, or the dream sequences first, where he's coming through the cornfield. And the idea was to make him pitch black, almost a flat silhouette in this three-dimensional world of this gold, gorgeous cornfield. He's just this black, inky figure that you can't see anything into. He's just like so evil, so alien, he's featureless except for darkness. So we had like the stealth makeup, which is all blacked out, and he's got the black cloak and the black hat. It looked so great. And I realized, oh my God, that's the way we first kind of envisioned him. That's how we were going to do it.
We found that if we darkened him up and made him wetter and goopier, that he read better on film and looked scarier. If you'll notice, in the first film, he's very dry and has a lot of dust coming off him. In Jeepers 2, he's like a black demon, a black, wet, tar-like demon. And we did change pigmentation more than anything else.
So in the first film, he has the head chopper, you know, he's on top of the police car, you know, it's right there. In the second film, we wanted to show the weapons as something he had artistically created. So when you have the throwing stars, the shurikens, stuck in the tire of the bus, and they pull them out and they look at them and think, what is a weird handmade thing? And then they turn it over and it's like got molars and teeth in it. And, you know, it's melted down gold from molars to make this bony, pointy thing. The daggers are all like very personalized, extremely strange. And we just went crazy, you know, when we were designing. It was like, well, can we have this thing with a blade coming out of its mouth? Sure, that looks great. You know, anything I want. I was so excited when I was designing the daggers that they were literally going to make those daggers. I thought, they're never going to make this. This is way over the top. This is way too bizarre. And Victor Simon said, oh, that's great. You know, and then like on the designs on the other side, it's a self portrait of the creeper flying down, getting victims. You know, it's just so wonderful to be able to do that kind of stuff and have it make it on film. So that was all like this huge transition from showing how old he was to really showing that he is this working, thinking creature. He's not just mindlessly killing people for food either. He's got this flair he wants to do it. He's got an artistic style he wants to do it with, you know, and he takes pride, obviously, in, you know, the weapons of his craft. very strong four people relating to the Creeper very powerfully. Victor, obviously, and then me, and then Brian Pinnacus and his crew, and then, of course, Jonathan Breck. It's very strange how we all just kind of flowed together to create this one thing.
You know, for those who must know, because there are people who go crazy if they don't know, and that's always their first question to me, what is he? Is he a demon? I don't think he's a religious character, so demon is kind of a weird word because it's got Christianity around it for me. I don't think he's a demon. I don't think he's an alien. I don't know what he is, but he's hungry. That's the important thing. I do think he started off as a man. How about that? I do think he started off as a man and something horrible happened to curse him with this hunger that is the only way that he can survive.